Hey guys, welcome back. We have a special episode of ExcaliburCCG's comics reviews here. Stay tuned. Also, be warned, if you are going to or haven't read these books yet, spoilers are going to be involved. Just be wary here. Stay tuned. Hey, welcome back here. We have a neat show today. We are going to have, it's a longer episode here looking at books from August 14th, 2013. And so if you don't have time to just sit down and watch it at the computer, you're on the go and you still want to listen to us, go ahead and go down to the link below, click on the link, download our MP3 there. Do what you need to make sure that you listen to this series here. What's so important about this week, Chris, Nathan, Charlie, and myself, we're going to look at 3 books that we have highly been anticipating that just happened to, everything fell right. Neptune was in line with Jupiter and the moon, whatever here. Saga number 13, East of West number 5, and Walking Dead number 113 came out all at the same time. We're going to have more of really it's a roundtable discussion here, where we're just going to talk about the books because we know that everybody loved what went on in here. We just want to know, was it what you thought? What do you think is going to happen next? Was there any disappointment in this? Anything that was a real shocker? Whatever it might be. So, I'll go ahead and get things started here by giving you guys a little recap. We're going to start off with The Walking Dead. So, bear with me here as I go through this recap. Now, what we've had previously, Rick's group has devised a plan in which the hillside community, or hilltop community, his community, and his new ally Ezekiel's community, they're all going to get together and they're going to take out the forces of Negan. Now, while they are meeting with Ezekiel, Negan happens to show up at Rick's compound. During this time, Rick shows up and is like, "What's going on? What are you doing here?" But he also decides that this is the perfect time for them to take Negan out. He's there, he looks pretty defenseless, they're going for it. It's a page turner right up until that final page of number 112 where, Rick is firing the shot, except he doesn't fire a shot. And suddenly we learn that Negan's group has guns. So Rick's faced with this impossible way out. And we find out in this issue that Rick is at Negan's mercy here. That's where it starts off. And Andrea is fighting for her life.
Yes. And
we have the Jesus, who is... I always want to say the Jesus from The Big Lebowski. Jesus has come upon an empty outpost. He's shocked, where are the people? And so just as we think Rick is about to bite it, he is saved by the most unlikely of people, Carl. Carl takes a shot out of Lucille, the bat. Negan goes crazy and demands Carl be thrown over the edge. Lots of tension with all that. Then we see that Andrea deals with her threat. Carl is not thrown over the edge. Negan gives an ultimatum here, and Andrea, we're left with her telling us and the audience kind of that Rick and her don't die. So there we have it. That is where we are at right now with the previous issues. Guys, what'd you think?
What are you going to start off with?
Any of you. You're talking, so why don't you start off?
Hey, listen guys, if you're watching the Walking Dead TV show, let me tell you right now that it's not the same thing as the comic book. There are tons of, the TV show is its own thing and it's great. I enjoy it. I really like watching it, but it's not exactly like the comic book. And because of that, it's not, to me, it's not as good. It's not as good. It's not as good as the comic book. It's still a great TV experience. When I watched it, I'm like, okay, what's going to go on? But compared to the comic book, it's not as good as the comic book. And this whole storyline, starting with Negan back in issue 100, it's been crazy. This guy, what Randy was talking about, the previous issues, Negan has developed a little special relationship with Carl. And then Carl does what he does in this issue, and like Negan loses it. Negan develops a lot of special relationships with everybody.
Everything.
He has his own special way of dealing with everything because he's got his own little world, his own little. I mean, he's the boss of whatever it is. Man, I so totally thought that Rick was screwed, and really he's still in a very bad predicament. But this has been fantastic. You don't know. I mean, to me, I don't know. I mean. Okay, I did see Andrea deal with her threat and effectively, but man, she got the crap beat out of her.
And her gun is gone. Her gun is not there for her to now pick up and do something.
So how is she? What's she gonna do up there? Can she do anything up there? Did that guy have a gun on him? I don't know. Can she throw a machete? And hit.
You're also looking. You're saying, well, are there more Negan's guys around that they look and see? Oh, wait, that's not this chick who fell out of there.
I thought the same thing because obviously you have multiple snipers you see from the last one because he pops like all Rick's guys at once, right? So you're thinking when I saw the body come off, I was kind of like, it's not like I have any accuracy for reading the book. You're reading the comic book, so you can't really make. But you're like, that's not her. That's not her. And then. And so you wonder, like, did a sniper see that and it's going to come down and tell him she made it down? Is she going to make it down out of the tower? I mean, that as soon as I read that last little, it had a kind of summer movie, like the end was like, yeah, mother. And then like, this is always where you get smacked in the mouth in this series, where you think, oh, we got it, we're going to turn the corner, and then it's floors out from underneath you.
Yeah.
Big watershed bad stuff happens.
Let me ask this, guys. Do you think that Kirkman effectively handled getting Rick out of immediately dying from the last issue into this issue?
Let me say yes and no. I think he effectively handled him getting out of dying, which it's almost not on the table for this character with Negan because of what he's told you in the past.
Right.
But I was a little nervous for the first few minutes for Carl after he shot the bat because you were like, you know what? These people don't have a lick of backbone without Rick in their camp.
Right.
And he's done out here, man.
Exactly.
He's exposed. And if they kick Carl back over, who hadn't done a real good job of endearing himself to these people.
No.
But I think they're all still, so without Spencer there, that was his really only rival.
Right.
They recognize Rick's the leader, so they won't throw Carl over. And you kind of know as this, and I may be wrong here, but if he kills Carl, so I would raise your hand if you'll still read after he kills Carl.
Oh yeah. If
I
Negan
have no
kills
problem
Carl,
with
I'll still read. Yeah.
I'm not sure that that's true for me, not just because I have kids, but because I feel like that is the point where you begin to transition away from the Rick Grimes story and get into some of the larger world building that they could eventually do with this story.
Maybe you need to, because Rick right now is going in full Rick mode that I've seen for 112 issues. Negan is much more of an interesting character to me. I'm liking him. I don't consider him like some people might to be kind of like the Governor Part 2. I think Kirkman's gone to great lengths to differentiate the two. That's why this storyline has gone on so long like it is. But I like seeing something different there, and maybe if there's something that happens that gives us a different Rick, I might be for that.
I think it may be time. If something, like I said, Negan's got this special relationship with Carl. I don't even know if they threw him over the wall to him and sacrificed him if he would have really killed him. You think that he would have, but I don't know. Carl is so damaged as it is. I could see in some ways if Negan were to off him, it'd be a mercy killing.
And that he knows that if he did it in front of Rick, Rick's broke.
I think that's still a lot of what we're dealing with here is that Negan hasn't broken Rick like he has so many others, and that's why he still kind of has this push-pull relationship with him. Yeah. So, I would still read it, and you're right. Maybe it's time for a different Rick, or.
Well, Charlie, as a casual reader to the book, what was your feelings?
Right. It's been a long time since I've read a monthly issue of Walking Dead. I did start off reading Walking Dead. I did drop it about 50 issues ago, actually. Hey. But it's interesting to... it's interesting to me to see. To me, Walking Dead a while back quit being so much about Rick and more about Carl. To me, like what Nate asked, Carl's the one character that can't die for me in Walking Dead to keep it interesting. To me, if Rick's story ended next issue, or if it had ended 12 issues ago, I might have been okay with that, really. Because I feel like that character, has transformed, has done a lot of things. Carl is still in that process, and so to me, it's what Walking Dead is about is this world, how it's changed people, and to me, it's more interesting to see how it's changed Carl than it is how it's changed Rick or the other survivors.
Right.
So I love the issue. It's really about enough to make me pick this up in single issues again, and
It's a page turner.
It really is. I feel like Kirkman's still knocking it out of the park, and it's good to see.
Well, before we move on to another book, let me pose this one last question about Walking Dead. Where do you see next issue picking up? What do you see happening from the end of this one to where they are on their knees? They are being threatened to have each one of them beaten to death by Negan, and it looking like it could very possibly happen. Where do you think Kirkman takes next issue?
What do you think, Nate?
I mean, I don't think any of us doesn't know what's going to happen. It's somebody's going to come in, the Cavalry's going to come in some format and save at least Rick and at least Carl will get out of their immediate predicament.
Right.
They may even get the drop on this group. There's one other wrinkle we never talked about, but we'll have to discover too. What's up with Dwight's deal?
Right.
Like why were they not there? Did Dwight turn on them? Was Dwight purposely giving bad information?
Well, I think that's one of the things where when Negan showed up at Rick's place and Rick wasn't there, that he was meeting with Ezekiel, and they said no, he's out gathering supplies. Negan just took it as okay, that's what's going on here. I don't think that Negan has any idea what Dwight's doing, so I don't think that he's
but
like
I think
this
a valid Monday afternoon, I got way too drunk on Saturday. Why didn't he wingman me? Question is. Dude, you could have told us this cat travels with like 80 snipers. That would have been some like immediately good to know stuff.
True.
They're one-eyed bandit.
True. But I mean, what if one of your guys gets captured? You don't want him telling the other people, well, he's got these snipers around also. You may think, yeah, we're the big guys who are running with him.
I think I'm going to err on the side of being informed about the snipers in this scenario.
Well, one of your comments here about this, somebody's going to come in and save him, I think one of the more unlikely candidates for that saving, most people were probably going to say Jesus is going to swoop in at the last moment.
Yeah,
The more unlikely and a long shot might be the zombies. What if the zombies hear all these gunshots, and go, swarm?
Yeah.
So that might be a good out there for taking out some of Negan's guys, thinning the herd with some of those snipers, and allowing Rick and his people to get back to the compound there.
I think that's a strong possibility. The only thing I think that would shut that idea down is that they're all set up. I mean, he still has an army outside. With the perimeter.
But so far, with what they've been showing us, they've shown some overhead shots before in the artwork, and the guys were coming out with their guns and kind of piling around.
Okay.
And what if all their attention is on let's see what Negan's doing here, and nobody's really paying attention to what's going on with the zombies. I mean, if they're on their toes and doing what they're supposed to do, they're going to notice that Andrea did not fall out the window. They should be getting there.
Right.
If they're not going to notice her, and they're not going to notice zombies.
What I would love to see happen.
Yes.
Because basically the only thing that could sneak up and get to Negan without being detected and overwhelm him with sheer force would be Ezekiel's tiger.
Okay,
I would love to see that cat take a bite out of his backside and have him make a limp for the rest of his life or something until they do the all-out war and everything coming up.
Well, here's one of the good things here. The previews for issue number 115 has Negan with a black eye, so we know that he gets roughed up in some way here. So there's going to be some retribution from somebody on him. However, I guess the spoiler for us is that cover, it may be misleading, does show both Negan and Rick. So that's one thing to consider. I don't know. It could just be like maybe one's thinking about the other one or something. You know when the person's thinking and they appear up there in kind of the ghostly form. Yeah, maybe something like that's happening. I don't know. Anyways, overall, good read for you.
Yeah, definitely.
Well worth the wait.
And Charlie Adler has this way, or I don't know if it's Kirkman, but it's a combination of both, where they do these double-page spreads, where it's like Nate was saying. I mean, it's like these oh crap moments. You know,
Yes.
It's just like I love seeing that. It's like that's kind of like it's kind of formulaic in that regard. It's like a formula that he has for almost every issue, and I always love that about every issue. Just about every issue, that's either a single page panel or a double page spread that's just like, a real tense moment.
I mean, like a very specific example of that dovetail of writing and art is when they're in that big double spread and you see the body come out of the tower and Rick turns back, and the way the letter is lettered, the expression, it's a muffled oh no.
Yeah.
And the body art tells you really everything you need to see about what just happened.
You can tell he's pretty
it's
tense.
it's a perfect combination of, I'm sure the line was written, he whispers oh no, and then the actual visual way that it looks makes you go, oh, this guy knows. It's bad.
Yeah. For anybody who wonders if I love Charlie Adler's art, I've got a couple of collections right behind there of lots of his books. So, you can say whatever you want. I'm going to just say, yeah, I agree. It's awesome. It's awesome.
It's awesome. You should be
I
reading
love
it.
it. Okay, good job. Let's move on to Saga. Saga number 13. Now, they took a little bit of a delay here in getting this book out to us because they did one of the smartest things that I've seen a company do, and I guess when you're a small press, you can afford to do this a lot easier. Put out a second trade and wait for a couple months to get up more of a readership to then put out 13 and have people jumping on board. Now, with Saga, we have Marco and Alana. They are main characters, and they are kind of a sci-fi Romeo and Juliet love story. They fell in love over a novel that depicts a forbidden love, much like theirs. The two have children and are now on the run from everyone. That includes a robot prince, bounty hunters, an ex-girlfriend, everyone. Marco's parents join the adventures, but his father passes. Let's see here. The robot prince, who I just talked about, who's a great character, by the way, he's anticipating that they show up at the author's house, and the one thing he doesn't know is that they're already there. That's where issue 12 left off. Issue 13 picks up with the story. It was a bit of a shocker for me because it backtracks. It doesn't pick up with that last panel from issue 12.
No.
And we get to see how this the group of Marco and everyone arrive on the author's planet. And the planet happens to be one that's designed to keep people away. They have some great moments with the skeletons there. Marco's mother is still not on board with the idea of Marco and Alana. He thinks it's just something that he needs to work out of his system. And Alana feels that visiting this author will help Marco get past the death of his father. Meanwhile, the Will and Marco's ex, Gwendolyn, who, man, I'm loving those two. They're trying to rethink their next steps while love might be in the air. So, let's discuss, guys. Charlie, talk to me.
I love Saga so much. Every character, there are no throwaway characters, there are no throwaway moments. The art is exceptional, and Fiona Staples does a wonderful job getting facial expressions, body language, everything. I love the book. I'm glad it's back. I can't wait to see, the next 6 issues, how this plays out, and where we go. Well, we know where we go from here. The Prince Robot shows up, and more wackiness is going to ensue. But does this remind anyone else? This book was compared to Star Wars, I think, whenever it came out. And in a way, you've got a sci-fi epic with some fantasy thrown in, and you have all these interesting kind of triangles between the characters. And I think, not that Brian Vaughan is trying to copy Star Wars, I wouldn't say that, but in a way, this reminds me of that.
Sure.
It's just a rich, universe.
Actually, to me, I've been thinking just the way the characters interact in that sharp dialogue comes off almost more of a Firefly kind of feel with it. But yeah, I can see both of those with them.
I mean, I think we can all agree that the term, things get compared to Star Wars anytime there's intergalactic.
Right.
Anytime there's more than 1 or 2 aliens in the frame, it's like Star Wars.
Anytime someone shoots first,
it's Star Wars. And this created the Fiona Staples and Brian Vaughan together at the same time. I mean, it's like that hot Hollywood marriage that is going to end, but you want to watch every second of it while it goes down.
Let's play with that, and let's say it's like that hot Hollywood couple that is just going to have that Adonis child, and this is their Adonis child. Man, it is.
I mean, it's just page after page of the book. You can hand that book to somebody and say, don't read any of the content. Just flip through this book and look at the incredible color palettes, the incredible structures this woman creates. I mean, it's just nuts. It's so good. It's nuts. It's so good.
I'm going to do somebody some justice here, and I'm going to comment on the letterer phonographics.
Yeah.
Because they put their words in the most unconventional of places at times when they're talking, and I love that. It's not just like you have the little what's going on up in the thought bubble or whatever thing at the top, the square at the top, and then you have the dialogue. It can be on the side panel of something. It's just that person or whoever makes up that team or that group is just as talented as the rest of the people on this book.
No, I would agree. And then and so you waited so long for it, and then they take you a step back in time, and you're back in that ship, and you're like, I was kind of hoping for a little, and then you get into the graveyard of apparently automated. Did everybody get that was like his security system?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like he had like a somehow remotely activated bone graveyard that he could bring up at will, and he's a drunken Cyclops.
And that's the cool thing with him is when he shows up, he's a wreck. Yeah. He has the bottle. He's got like the robe and he reminds me of how oftentimes you might have heard like Faulkner described or something. Sure. But by the time the robot prince shows up in the previous issues, he's got himself together. So something about this group revitalizes this guy or brings some sense of hope or like his message or something is out there and people are hearing it. So I'm interested to see what point or see it get to that point. Chris, you're being quiet over there. Talk to me about Saga.
Overall, I've extremely enjoyed Saga. There's been a couple of things along the way that have irked me and I've overlooked. I'm not going to dive into those, but this I don't know if you guys. I read an interview with Brian K. Vaughan, and this one-eyed Cyclops is basically his version of Warren Ellis.
Yes.
In the book, he's just that curmudgeonly, just old fart. That I think it's interesting because this is kind of like it comes back. It's kind of like an interim issue. It's like this is what's going on. Still the fantastic elements that you see with everything, the wood, the tree rocket ship, and you still got the Will dreaming of his ex-girlfriend and all this stuff going on. But the one element they did introduce was the two reporters at the beginning.
Yeah.
Talking to that
awesome.
guard. You're like, oh, so there's a story here, and a story within a story. So that was really cool. And Fiona Staples is killing it. I loved her art way back years ago. She did a mini-series with Mike Costas with the Authorities' Jack Hawksmoor.
Right.
Years ago. That's where I first saw her art, and it was great even then. And then it's just gotten better. It's
Mystery
just
Society
fantastic.
also.
She did. Steve Niles did the Mystery Society, right? Yeah. So this still, I mean, this to me is not just Star Wars, but it's like The Hobbit mixed with Star Wars, mixed with whatever else you know.
Yeah.
It can kind of, it's so broad, but all packaged together so well. So, and it's kind of weird because there's times I keep forgetting that the daughter is narrating this story. Yeah. And sometimes I'll start, okay, you know, it's just kind of like, it kind of spins some gears here, but overall, yeah.
The interesting thing about that is that she's also narrating these parts of the story about the will.
Yeah.
So there must come a point in time in which I almost saw at one point in time that the will and Marco were going to be kind of like Han Solo and Luke Skywalker kind of thing. I saw that, and I even predicted whenever the will ship was ripped open that they would take them on board and that they would be part of their group. That didn't happen. It may happen on down the line, but there has to be something there because she's still talking about him. I almost wish there was a second book that was giving us more of the story of the Will and Gwendolyn.
Yes, there's so many spin-offs that you could do from this that would be so great to
the
read.
Robot Prince story.
I don't want to see. The Spider Lady gives me the creeps.
I know, dude. It's kind of creepy, man.
It's not
8 eyes.
the full. It's because like there's full frontal nudity there, and I feel like that's where my eye should go. But my eye goes to the fact that she had this up here to have arms.
She's
like,
an amputee.
Yeah. Like this is terrible. What happened to you? I feel terrible. And then you look, of course, pan back, and she has 6 big arms that come out from underneath her. But when they do those tight end shots, you're like, I'm not sure I should look at this.
What was the name he gave Slave Girl at the end? Was it Diana?
Sophie.
Sophie.
Yeah.
So I like that they're developing with that character as well. I even like that when Gwendolyn is talking to her, Lion Cat's right there, but never once says lying. So you know that there's some truth in what she's telling him, or she believes it so much that Lion Cat can't tell. So
yeah,
I'm so happy this book is back, and I will say I was a good and faithful servant to this book, and I bought the 2 graphic novels and handed them off to a friend and his wife, and they both were arguing over who was going to put the book on their list at the comic shop. So
awesome.
I'm spreading the word of Brian K. Vaughan, Fiona Staples' Saga.
I think I read that this has already sold out and gone to a second printing.
All 3 of the books we're talking about today have sold out. They are amazing.
Crazy.
And that's a good segue moment to our last book, because East of West number 5 came out. Jonathan Hickman was a bit confused by this because he said that the initial orders on this were 45,000, and then suddenly the orders dropped down to like 39,000. He couldn't understand what this huge drop-off was with it. And I think they ended up printing 41, and that sold all the way out. So there are some idiots. Yeah, I'm calling you idiots out there if you drop the book. There are some idiots that drop the book or something, and I don't understand that because
me neither.
It's a phenomenal book here. So let me give you a little bit of a backstory on East of West. In a futuristic Western world, we have the 3 horsemen who have awakened. They're the horsemen of the apocalypse, and they find that their 4th death is missing. The ruling parties of America form a group called the Chosen, and the Chosen and the Horsemen follow to the T the teachings of the Message, their book, The Message. Death has chosen to cut ties from his prior ways of life, and he did this because of one person. That happens to be his wife. Now, his wife has also cut ties from her way of life, and I'll get into that in just a moment here. We find out that Death might not be the most dangerous person because he submits to one other, and that also happens to be his wife. Now, in this issue, Death and his wife they have a less than happy reunion, shall we say. there are some feelings of betrayal, abandonment, whatnot, and they go so deep that it looks like it's probably irreparable at this point. We are shown flashbacks of the two of them as they try to break free from this lifestyle that they've known, and that breaking free ultimately leads to the birth of their child. Now, or their son, I should say. Now, the son is long thought dead by both of them, but Death tell me if I'm saying this right, Shaolin?
Sure.
Yeah.
Shaolin, something along those, tells her, his wife, that their son is still alive and that the Chosen has him, and they believe that he, being the birth of these two Deathbringers, is the great beast of the end times. So they are breeding him well, I don't know if breeding is the correct term. They are prepping him to be to be this great beast. Death, though, says that he is not going to rest until he has his son back. So, talk to me about East of West. We had you start off with Walking Dead. You start off with Saga. Talk to me, Nathan.
Yeah, I mean, it's like we were saying earlier, you find out again why it's East of West, because it's obviously going to be set in the Far East. And it was a great the issue before you get her getting him to bow down, and you kind of want to know what that's about, and they do a great job of sort of laying that out. Again, more incredible art in this. It's kind of a futuristic. I mean, really, Nick Dragotta and Frank Martin are just tearing it up with the inside panels, and you get a great. So this character Death has been pretty much BA.
Yeah.
But, up to now. And she's talking to him like he's just a piece of trash.
We can't say badass.
Yeah. No. So she's talking to him like he's just a piece of trash.
Yeah.
And then you see the just horrific Far Eastern mentality, cut her hands off.
Well, they had shown that previously, and I forgot about it until they went to that again.
And then was anybody else sort of intrigued by he was black at one point?
Yes.
Yep.
And white at another point, and is that indicative of maybe at one point, maybe he was a worse person than he is now? Maybe this whiter version.
Well, he's been he was awakened and reborn long before the other three horsemen, so there could have been a transformation in that happened that we don't know yet. It's purposeful, so I'm sure that Hickman will tell us when the time is right what's going on with that. But good call or catch on that.
Yeah, and then it had a great ending when he suits up and he rides out. And he's got the birds and the wolves.
Yes,
he's coming to get you.
Oh,
and what makes it such a great dovetail from the last episode too, and what makes the book such a nice so far narrative thread is the only reason that close is so awesome is that you got to see them in just the previous book. Really laying that down the way that they can do it when it's all out mega. I'm ready to end human life here.
Yeah.
And then to see her cease that, and then to get the reinforcement with her. Yeah. Just really, I feel like maybe I've been married to death.
Your wife
that's marrying someone to death.
Now,
spread that, people.
Spread it everywhere.
I'm just kidding.
Now, the unexpected thing there, you have that he didn't know that his wife was alive. I think the thing he knew was that his son was. And when he talked to, I just call him Colonel Sanders there. I can never remember the Chosen's name. But when Death talked to him, he told him, we have something else you want, your wife, and that shocked Death. He didn't know that,
Right.
so he knew about the son, and so when he shows up there, you're expecting her to throw her arms around him, kind of thing. I found you again, that's the last. I know our love is real. One of those Sound of Musics or something like that. No, not really, but you have kind of the exact opposite reaction. You have her saying, I did just kill my dad. I am now the ruler of this nation. and I kind of want to go to war with America. So it was cool just to see how brutal she was and see what kind of woman it is that has Death fall in love with her.
Charlie?
Yeah, you know, this issue really more so than the previous 4 had a lot of talking.
Yeah.
It had a lot more story building. We've been just to the wall action with this series, which I have loved. It needed an issue to kind of slow down, tell the story, tell what is motivating these characters. And that's what this issue was. It's not a great issue. If you've been hearing about this awesome book, East of West, when you pick up issue 5, it is representative of the series, but it's not. But again, I felt like this was a needed issue. You know, this is needed to build up the rest of the story and say where we're going from here. And I did think it was great. And I can't wait to see, you know, what else happens now that we know what Death's mission is. You know, where he's going from here, the showdown with the other 3 horsemen that we know is coming. Can't wait to see that. So
Yeah.
One of the little things that we should look forward to is, I believe, the tracker with the eye. The eye patch with the eye, I believe he gets involved in the story again. He's not just kind of a one-shot character that is gone and done. So I like that they're building up with there's something else to this guy, because he was pretty neat when you came across him the first time.
Yeah. Man, this has been awesome. I mean, just with this issue in particular, I mean, there's so many moving parts up through issue number 4. And then with this issue, it gets so personal between Death and his wife, because when Death was out of the picture, back when he was black, when Death left and was out of the picture for whatever reason that was, she had to sacrifice. I mean, she sacrificed. She had her arms cut off and rebuilt, you know, with cybernetics or whatever, and her sister cut off her arms as
what a great family
penance. Yeah, and this is like the family there reminds you of what you see like in feudal Chinese or Japanese type movies with this great honor and great sacrifice, and you took a swig of my Starbucks, I cut off your fingers type thing. I mean, just severe consequences.
I remember
for everything.
that in Shogun.
Yeah, you know, I mean, and just the way was it issue 3 or the way issue 4 ended, where Death bowed down.
Yeah,
she was the person. It's like nothing can conquer Death. Well, Death is a person, and Death is, you know, he fell in love, and someone did conquer him. That was just awesome. I love his I love the wolf and the crow characters that are constantly with him, and they're just they're just awesome. Just and I love his cannon horse that he rides around on, and you saw with last issue the mega war that happened. That was just brutal and insane. And this issue as well, you see. The way Jonathan Hickman described it, it's like what if the Civil War never ended?
Yeah.
And so this is like a continuation of an alternate history on Earth where Civil War never ended, and you know you have all these advancements because of the Civil War. And then you see these factions. You find out about the message in this particular issue, and I love how it's like the chosen that are a part of this Illuminati type group. There's they're a part of it, but some of them are a part of it because they know they have to be to survive.
Right.
Some of them are a part of it because they actually are true believers.
So Archibald is the one who is there just because they have to survive.
The Colonel Sanders guy?
No, well, he's the one with the hat that is talking to him. He said, I have this area that is mine now. I did not want to lose this thing. He's the one talking and says, none of this is right. This child is an abomination. You know, none of this is right. Colonel Sanders, he's Solomon.
Okay.
Solomon, that's why I went to look at the names there, because we kind of talked all about this and not talked about this huge ending here. He's the one that he looks like he has ulterior motives to it. You quoted, Nate, that you loved his speech from the last issue. How did he say that about? I've known this.
Well, yeah, like he basically has the other 3 of the 4 horsemen there, and he's like, "Don't you think that I knew famine before when I was poor? And don't you war? Who do you think you are? How do you think I got here? I know how to create war." And then plague, he's like, plague befalls everyone, but if you have enough money, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And then but he's like, death comes for every man, no matter what you do, and that's who y'all should be afraid of.
He's kind of speaking as an everyman with that. That everybody's scared of death, whether or not they're scared of these other things. Everyone is scared of death.
And you can take a dual thing from that, though. As he tells them later on in that same little dialogue, I'm a survivor. Like, I've been at this for a minute doing this. You guys are way behind me in the game, and you can kind of take from that he's a sort of a meta player in the game. And then, obviously, to see him here, now you really understand, like, okay, this guy is really next level doing it.
I guess, lastly, talk to me about the Beast. Talk to me about their child.
Well, let me add.
Go
that.
on.
Yeah, because we had no idea until this issue that there was a union, from Death and his wife, and that they actually had a child. We didn't know that before this issue. So when we get to the part about the Beast, in the issue here, we see this kid hooked up all like Ghost in the Machine type in this place, this secluded private place, this hive mind or whatever, and he's being taught and being trained, and this computer's asking him questions and he's giving answers, and then asking the most revealing part to me was when the computer asked him to quote a poem.
Yeah.
And he quotes a poem, and the computer asks, well, who wrote that? And he says, well, I did. And the computer says, well, how does that make you feel? And he's like, I don't know what that means.
Yeah.
So, it's like they're breeding. He is the Beast, but they're also breeding him to be the Beast with like no feeling, no sense of emotion. So I guess whenever the time comes for him to kill, he'll do it. He'll just do it, if that's what he's called to do. So it's awesome.
And I think for me, it's kind of like like in Saga where you have those moments where fantasy's not really my big deal. Like, I don't really like it, but I like Saga because there are times when I'm not. The story's so good, it doesn't matter to me that you're Spider-Woman and crazy looking thing. It's just good story. And so, like in here, you're in a weird pseudo-future Far East Japan. This woman actually married Death somehow, and then they cut to this panel with the kid all matrixed out and the helmet thing on, and you're like, oh, wait a minute, I'm also reading a sci-fi book. This read like a Western. This was the Clint Eastwood scene where you find out the Confederates ready to kill his family, or the Indians took his buddy or something like that, and now he's going to saddle up and go take care of business.
Yes.
And so, but when you're reading that, and then all of a sudden, boom, here's the thing with the kid, and you're like, wait, this is also like the year 3000 or something, and this could get really weird. The Western trope of this guy being invincible may not fit here because I don't even really know what this is I'm looking at.
Charlie, you were saying this kind of reminds you of I guess an homage to Akira, or
it does. Hickman is bringing together, Western storytelling styles with Eastern storytelling styles, and not Eastern, I mean, Japanese comics. Akira, Chris, I think you said, Ghost in the Machine, visual there when they introduce us to the Beast of the Apocalypse, and it really is amazing. I'm still wondering when he pitched this book to Image what that read like. But
no, seriously.
But
I got a book. What's it about? I got a book.
But it's been an interesting juxtaposition of the two, and hey, let's make it about the end times. Let's make it about the Book of Revelation. So this is a story that is just trying to knock it out of the park, and it's doing a great job.
There's so many layers.
Yeah.
Just so many layers.
Yeah.
You go from the Eastern mysticism, the religious theme, to then the extreme sci-fi, like what Nate was talking about, and then the overall arch of just people wanting to live and wanting to be able to conquer these primal forces and primal things that really can't be conquered with the ideas of the four horsemen of the apocalypse,
And Nick Drago really stretched it in the book too, and doing just like you said. I mean, I saw the Eastern touches, and in fact, when they go through this sort of back scenes and the montages of her life and his when they ran off together, it goes from sort of a kind of Far Eastern look to a much more traditional Eastern stretch of panels in the way that it looks, and I mean it's perfect. Yeah.
One of the things I probably look most forward to in this book, I don't think I saw it the first time when they showed her sister capturing her. I don't think you saw that those other 3 horsemen were there, and you see that this time, and so now you're going to have that moment at some point in time where she meets up with them and she goes, "You're going to pay."
Yeah.
And if there's someone that you know means business when they say that, she does.
Oh,
so.
dude, this is like the mother you don't want to cross. Like, yeah.
Those
So bad.
ones that have done the horrible, terrible things that we're not talking about those mothers. We're talking about the mothers that are like the overly protective mothers kind of thing here. So, Sandra Bullock didn't have anything on her in Premonition. That's she takes it to a whole new level. So, okay, cool. Well, that is our roundtable with these books. Real quickly, what I'd like to get, Chris, I'm kind of calling on you at last moment here. Give me something about Infinity. We just had the start of Infinity come out here, and I am one of those where I've been kind of let down by the writing in Avengers leading up to this, that when Infinity comes out, I'm like, this is a good read, but it's hard to get from this level back up to that so quickly with one issue. And I've been let down by Marvel events before, that I don't want to get my hopes up with the first issue and then have them dashed out. But it just so happens to be that Infinity is being handled by one Jonathan Hickman. Yes. So that could be a game changer right there. Give us a little review. What do you think of Infinity?
I thought it was a solid start with the first issue here of this event. So many in the Avengers titles, Avengers and New Avengers, it's been leading up to Infinity, and then Free Comic Book Day, we saw some stuff going on with what Thanos has had going on in the background, unbeknownst to our heroes for apparently a while now. You see how in this issue he's amassed these generals and allies that are sweeping across worlds, and right now what was really interesting to me is that he's demanding these tributes, and you don't know exactly what they are, but he's demanding something from these worlds that he's conquered, and he goes back and collects them. And he has his General Corvus Glaive doing this stuff that he's just a beast in itself. But this spans, man, we got to see the Space Knights in this issue, which was really fun. We didn't see Rom, the Space Knight.
There were different versions of them.
There were different Space Knights in there on the planet Galador, and this is Hickman. He knows how to create those moments, because when we see the scene of the builders on Galador taking down the planet, there's this one Luke Skywalker looking kid that's like,
exactly.
We have the Space Knights, and they have done this, and they have sacrificed, and they will go to the very end, they will give their soul and their lives to defend the beautiful planet Galador. And then Captain Universe is standing right beside the kid, and she's like, well, it won't be enough.
Yeah.
It'll always be enough.
Not this time.
They can do it. And she says, no, my kids are here. And she means the builders. She means what they're doing. And they just lay waste to everything. Then you got a scene where Hawkeye and Captain America are tracking down Skrulls, and as Randy has pointed out in some of our other videos, we still haven't came across any of the Super Skrulls like we did with the Secret Invasion storyline.
Right.
So these are just like the regular, I don't know, mom and pop Skrulls. They're sitting around eating pizza and offering pizza to Captain America and Hawkeye. You guys hungry? I guess anything you can do to save getting your butt kicked. But and we go on, we see more of what Thanos, and Thanos in this issue, they really drive the point that apparently to Thanos, Earth is like greater than having all of the Infinity Gems. It's like he has this smile knowing that the heroes are gone, that he actually has a chance of taking Earth for himself. That's just like, it's like, really? You really wanted Earth that bad for this long? It was like something that had been held away from him for so long that now he's like, now I can take it. And Jonathan Hickman has been writing pretty much all of this, and he's writing this series. And And this issue was drawn by Jim Chung, who's a fantastic artist.
Yes.
And he's been around. He did Young Avengers before it became the current iteration that it is now. He's done all kinds of stuff.
Scion.
Back in the day, Scion for CrossGen and all that. Fantastic artwork. And it is broad. It's epic in scope because it's spanning across the Marvel universe. I mean, we go from Planet Galador, you know, however many light systems away or whatever, but then we have the problem on Earth, and they have to go out, and it was a solid first issue for me, and I was just I don't know, man, it's just kind of creepy to think that Thanos has been wanting Earth like for so long. It's like he's just been waiting. So it was solid. It was solid.
Here's one of the coolest and weirdest things that they've presented in the Marvel Universe as far as Thanos goes and Earth. They have, in Guardians of the Galaxy, they have said Earth is not to be touched. You stay away from Earth, which has just made the Badoon, or whatever they call themselves, say, oh, well, we'll get that. We want that. And you've had groups attacking Earth. Groups who are not on the same power level as Thanos, who do not bring fear to people like Thanos' name brings fear to people. You have this group of Avengers who, I mean, of course they're probably going to win at the end of the day kind of thing, but they may not have throughout the world the power behind their name as the Kree Empire, or maybe the Space Knights, or this group or that group of people. And yet you have Thanos, who will not touch Earth because the Avengers are on there. Yeah. Stay away from Earth because there are Avengers there. The most feared person saying that, and then when the Avengers leave, that grin on his face was so sinister and great, so greedy there. Yes. Finally. Yes. But that says a lot to me that you've had those comparisons leading up into this, and maybe for me, are you reading Guardians of the Galaxy? Yes. For me, the most exciting thing is nobody, I think, expected Star-Lord to show up and have a little heart-to-heart chat with Thanos at the end of the last issue there, where you're now going, what's going to happen next?
Yes.
What's going to go on? So that's one of these things that I know will tie into Infinity that I'm probably most looking forward to.
And to backtrack to that, you now know why there was an Age of Ultron series. Because with that Guardians of the Galaxy issue, Thanos clearly lays it out. You guys, you humans on Earth, have screwed up space and time.
Yeah.
Something has to be done about that. I'm going to do something about it. And then really this issue, at the very last panel with that grin, it made me want to find out who Thanos' dentist is. Because those pearly whites are beautiful, baby.
Awesome. Okay, well, let's go ahead and wrap this up because it is a long episode here. But it's an entertaining one. It's one of the most informative episodes. We know more than some of these other people know, and we know better than some of these other people know. Yes, that's right. I'm saying it right here.
Go team!
The gall of this guy to say that. I did.
Hey, if we're going to wrap it up, though, can we wrap it up with some other prime choices? From this?
Okay, yeah, sure. Go ahead. Also, we need to do a little pimping of Comic-Con that's coming up.
Yes, at the end of this month, Labor Day weekend, Arklatex Comic-Con is happening. August 31st, September 1st. If you're in the Louisiana, Arkansas, Texas area, you should go to that. Our very own documentary, Excalibur Comics documentary, is going to be airing there, so you'll get to see a documentary about Excalibur Comics. They've been around for 25 years now. And Clint Hanna's a great guy doing this documentary. I'm really excited to see what he's put together. He's got some very revealing moments of Dale and Chris, the comic shop owners. So that's going to be fun to see.
We'll also have a booth there. Excalibur will.
Awesome. I didn't know that, so that's awesome. So definitely go there and check that out. What else do I need to hit on here?
That's it. Well,
That's
the
it.
other things, this show. But
Okay.
So yeah, watch our new reviews if you're watching this and haven't watched the new comics coming out each month or each week.
And I had to pimp another issue just real quick because I don't know if you guys are reading it, but I'm not going to spoil it. I promise I won't spoil it. But another breakout image series for me that's been fantastic is Ghosted. And issue number 2 hit this past week. Nate, you're reading it?
Yeah, it's good.
This issue was probably even better than the first issue.
I think our boy Blake called it with that. He's just like, dude, this totally yes.
Joshua Williamson is writing it. Joshua Williamson's been around. He's written several things. I think he's done some Valiant stuff here recently, and he's done other things along the way. Goran Suzuka was an artist that was on Why the Last Man back in the day. So it's fantastic art. And the storyline is just, man, the pace, it just keeps it going. It's really good. And you got an awesome Sean Phillips cover here to sell it even more. And you got to check out Ghosted. Really, you
open
got
up to the first page of issue 1, and if that doesn't have you hooked, then I don't know what will.
You're next.
Skip opened up to that page, and Skip picked up 1 and 2 just to give it a try because that had a
Just
post.
because of that.
So, Charlie, anything you want to give a shout out for?
A couple of quick things. Astro City number 3 was out this week. Astro City is back. If you're not reading it, you should be. Also, just a quick little nod to Harbinger 15. I don't know if we've given any reviews of any Valiant books since the relaunch. It's good.
There you have it.
I love it. Short and sweet.
So
How about you, Nate?
I did bring it, but Half Past Danger also number 4, I believe.
I did get to read the conclusion to, it is number 4, to Thor, God of Thunder. Did get to read the conclusion to that. Just the moment where Odin prays to Thor.
Yes.
That was awesome.
Yes.
Okay, I think now we can go ahead and wrap things up here. We are Chris, Nathan, Charlie, Randy. We are here from Excalibur Comics in Shreveport, Louisiana. Also, we have a location in Texarkana, Texas. And we are part of ExcaliburCCG.com. You can find us there, and ExcaliburCCGTV on YouTube. Find us on Facebook, like us, contact us at any point in time. If you need to get some of these comics because you can't find them at your comic shop, put them on order from Excalibur. So
Yes.
That about does it, guys. Anything else?
That's it.
All right, join us next time. Thanks a lot. Bye.